Okay, so again, without wasting time, we are now in for our item 5 of our ginger joint mock examinations, which some people simply call Jjeb. Okay, so without wasting time, we are going to just proceed straight away, but simply remind you to subscribe to the channel. Please, this is only token of appreciation you can send our way. Then please also consider sharing this video to whoever may find it important, because it's for us all right. So we are going to look at item 5, and I'm saying this item 5 is specifically coming from business mathematics, and I kindly request, if you don't have enough data to watch it to the end, then I'm just requesting you quit it right now. It is after I've got enough data that now you can come back for it. Yes, I've talked of taxation, but not the really taxation you've been thinking of. It's a special one, in fact one of a kind, which you need to really have it watched. If you have a friend, make sure you share this video to that person, and it may be of great help, because it has a lot more than just an item, but a learning point to both the teacher and the student. So without wasting time, again, I want to remind you that my name is Mtanda Samil. Please, you can hit my inbox there for anything. Okay, yeah, my inbox there, you can hit it for maybe an appreciation. I know some people can just be there to appreciate. You can hit my inbox and appreciate, or anything, or talk about business. That can also still be something of alright, great importance. Okay, without wasting time, I think let's get there. Okay, so still here, we can't get tired of reminding you that you must subscribe to the channel, because sooner or later, by next year, we're going to have this channel limited to only our subscribers. Don't fall a victim. Make sure you subscribe. Don't let just a 1-second click make you miss work which is worth a future. Of course, we keep telling you that. Count on math for success. Let's get there. Okay, good. Here we are. So the saying, so here we are. Let's get some ink. Okay, Dalek, Uncle Colin wants to invest shillings 12 million in a hardware. Wants to invest shillings 12 million in a hardware business. Okay, he wants to use his saving, which is 45% of what he needs. 45% of, now of, whenever you say percent and you see of, it means you're going to multiply, so it will be a 45. I want to analyze straight away, over 100 of what he needs times 12 millions. That is the kind of, okay, that is the saving that man has right there. Okay, and the plan is to get a loan for the remaining amount. Okay, now how shall we get the remaining amount? In fact, if after having that, when you apply that, the final result here you get will be, I'm just going straight away, will be 5,400,000. If you can really look into that. Now that is the amount he has consumed. So now the remaining amount, will be how much? Of course, will be the 12 millions. If you can really look into that, the 12 millions minus the 5,400,000 right there. Okay, and now when you subtract this, how much will you get in the long run? Here when you subtract, you get a 6,600,000. So this is the balance. It means that his saving is 5,400,000. The loan he wants to take, a loan of 6,600,000. Okay, a remaining amount, he approached a money lending institution with lending terms as follows: a 10% per annum interest. Take note, per annum, not per month, but per annum, which means per year. Per annum simple interest for 3 years. Okay, good. So the time here, you look into this, the time T is 3 years. Our rate is just 3%. Is that so? No, it is a 10%. If you can really look into that. Then he is a secondary school teacher who earns a salary of 910,000, which is subjected to PAYE, the pay as you earn, as the government requirement according to the structure below. Now, what I want you to note about this is that, in fact, let's go on. So the structure is just right here. You have it from 0 to 100,000. The rate is 0. Now, this is 0% terms. Sometimes instead of 0, they can just write there free. When you see the word free, it means 0% tax anyway. We shall be looking into that. So now let's proceed. Now we have the table structure given to us as that. I'll be explaining that later when the time comes. So let's go on. So they like, okay, here we go. So now they're saying, at this school, they also give the following allowances to their teaching staff members on a monthly basis. Lunch of shillings 80,000, accommodation of shillings 170,000, medical 55,000, transport of 3,000 daily, and children allowance for 3 children below 10 years 7,000, between 10 and 15 years 10,000, above 15 years but less than 18 years shillings 12,000. Okay, Uncle Colin has 5 children aged 3, 7, 14 and has 5 children aged 3, 7, 14, 17 and 21 years. Okay, now here they have specified for you that a month has 30 days. Take note of that. A month has 30 days. They really clarified that for you. Okay, and still if they give you a taxation number, they have not specified the month for you. Also, you must let and say that the month should have 30 days. Okay, the task they're saying task part A, determine the amount of money that Uncle Colin pays the money lending institution monthly. Yeah, they want to know how much he pays monthly. Now this is about the loan our uncle needs. We shall call him our uncle here. Okay, how much does Uncle Colin pay to the government as tax? Now this is income tax, which is after taxation. How much does Uncle Colin earn as his net income? Shall be going to that. Now what we're going to do, first of all, to begin with, we're going to start off with this part, determining the amount of money that Uncle Colin pays the money lending institution monthly. Remember, I had these details back here. Here, right here. So monthly, how much does he pay monthly? Look, remember I had this. I explained how this and this comes about. If you can remember, or if you can really give it a flashback, I explained how that comes about. Now let's go and see how that comes straight away. So originally we said, in fact here, originally we said, okay, so originally we said, okay, allow me, okay, so we now come and look into this. Remember, we had this statement already that we shall now say that, let's proceed, we shall now say that our required money is shillings 12 millions. That's what our uncle needs. So our uncle needs shillings 12 millions. But in the next step here, we shall say that from the question, they say that his saving is 45% of. I told the word of here simply means multiplication of what he needs. Remember, he needs 12 million. So it will be 45 over 100 times 12 million, which should give us a 5,400,000. We have it right there. So his saving is 5,400,000. So that's his saving. Now you want to know how much will he borrow. Still again, they say that he will borrow the remaining. Of course, if he has this 5 million, then he will have, what he doesn't have is what he borrows. So he saved 5,400,000. So he will borrow what? The remaining amount. So shall we say loan for the remaining loan. The loan he will take will be for the remaining amount, which is equal to a 12 million minus a 5,400,000. Something this like this, which will get a 6,600,000. So therefore, required loan amount is shillings 6,600,000. That's the required loan amount. But again, remember, they wanted to know, this man later went to the lending agency to go and borrow. Now remember, this man is going there to call for a loan of 6 million, meaning that that loan there becomes, this one here becomes the principal. From our formula, that simple interest is equal to the principal times rate times time over 100. That's what happened there. So now our principal is that money he wants to borrow, which is 6,600,000, and our rate from the question was just 10%. Then the time was per year, so in 3 years. So if I calculate the whole sum in the whole 3 years, then but they wanted it in monthly. How much will he be paying monthly? So We shall calculate the simple interest for the whole 3 years, then we shall cater for monthly. Okay, so simple interest is equal to our principal is right here, our rate is 100, this percent is catered for by the 100 down times 3. Okay, so times 3. That's how we're going to get our answers straight away. Alright, good. So with that we can now proceed. So we now multiply. Why are we multiplying like this? Is because look, this is our principal, this is our rate, and this is our time in 3 years. Remember they said that per annum, so they were charging him the interest per annum per year. That's why I'm leaving it like this. If it was to be per month, I would multiply here by 12 first of all to cater for that, but it is per annum, so per year I'll leave it as the years. I will not change the units. So again I shall say that simple interest is now equal to the 6 million is just a repetition of what you have up there. Then finally simple interest will be, if you multiply this, if you multiply this times that divided by 100, you shall get 1,980,000. Now this implies that this is the amount Uncle Colin will repay in 3 years. But remember our question was saying, maybe I can just take you back. Our question was saying here like this. Okay. Our question was saying that, okay, determine the amount of money that Uncle Colin pays the money lending institution monthly. Now the money we have here is for the whole year. The money we have here is for the whole year. So we want the money monthly. This is for the whole year. We want the money just monthly. So if that's for the whole year, then let's come and say that. Okay. Now they've said amount, but you all know that the word amount is equal to the principal plus the interest. Now the principal is where? The principal is this 6,600,000. Then the interest is this 1,980,000. So we need to calculate the amount using that formula first of all. That's when we shall proceed. Don't forget your business math. That formula is highly called for. So amount of money that Uncle Colin pays the money lending institution monthly shall now tell you that, okay, monthly shall now say that amount equals to principal plus simple interest. That is the formula. It is there in business math. This formula is there in business math, but we have the principal, we have the simple interest, so we can get the amount. So the amount per whole in the 3 years will be 6,600,000 plus the 1 million. What is the principal, and this is our interest. So to be the amount here for the 3 years, so amount is equal to 8,580,000 for the 3 years. But remember they want it monthly. So monthly, what are we going to do? Like we talk about 3 years. 3 years has how many months? Remember each month has 12. Each year has 12 months. So times 3. So that's how we're going to cater for that. So how shall we do that? And shall simply come and divide by this. So shall we see that in the next step? Okay, so we have the 8,580,000 divided by 12 times 3. Divide by 12 times 3. Why this one I'm converting it to months. I've explained why. Which will give you 636 months, so that we can get what he was paying each month. And we just have it below here. The amount monthly will be amount equals to 238,333.333 recurring, and that's the answer we are kindly having. So this is the money this man will be paying monthly. Take note of this calculation here. It's a good one indeed. I know you have also come to believe it, and still more to come. Taxation has the biggest and good learning points. In fact, one at least to surprise you here. So we move to the next part. So moving the next part, shall say, okay. Okay, good. So now, since you have answered almost each and everything there, let's go and see what the next part really requires. Let's go there. So the next part says, okay, here we are. So the next part says, here we are. So they're saying that next part, we are done with part A, how much this man will need to lend. Afterwards, we are done with that. So you're saying part B, how much does Uncle Colin pay to the government as tax? By the way, how much does he pay as tax? Now what he pays as tax is, you'll have to use this tax band here. This tax band means that whoever earns from 0 shillings up to 100,000 in that given place or country doesn't pay what? Doesn't pay tax. It is a tax-free 0%. Then whoever earns 100 and above up to 200,000 pays a tax of 5%. Whoever earns 200 and above, that 1 million and above, 350,000 pays a tax of 10%. Whoever earns 350 and above to 500 earns or pays a tax of 18%, and whoever gets above 500 must give us a tax of 25%. Now, I've told you that there is something unique here which you must keenly observe. They told us that he is a secondary school teacher who earns a salary of 990,000, which is subjected to PAYE as the government requirement according to the structure below. Now, there's something I want you to know that here we don't know whether this man receives this money in the bank. What if when this man here receives his money just in hand cash, like that, hand what? Cash, like that. So it means that this man earns 990 from the school, but out of this he must pay what you call the pay as you earn, which is charged based on this table here. So what you're going to do, unlike the other questions I've been having, this is not the gross. This is not the gross, by the way. It is not the gross. It is not the gross like the way you know the usual calculations of business math. This isn't a gross, by the way, because the gross is always having some allowances on it. This money is free from the allowances, because you can really see that in fact it is free from the allowances, because they're saying that this money here, which is subjected to PAYE, so they break that 990. I want to understand this. They pick this 990 and they take it to the PAYE straight away to be taxed. So if it comes straight, it means that this money is free from allowances. It doesn't have allowances in it. You can really look into that. So we want to know how much will the government charge from this and be kept as the pay as you earn using this table. Now what shall we going to do? What we do here is we must go percentage by percentage. Actually, we must go percentage by percentage. How? Look at this. So you have here from 0 to 100. So what you're going to do, you subtract 100,000 minus 0. You subtract like that, the way the arrow is going. And I think you get just 100,000. So it already subtract like that. Then you say times which rate do you have in that area? The rate is just 0 over 100. Okay. When you apply, automatically you just get 0. Then you go to level 2. Level 2 you will say, now where you see 1 here, you can write there. Where you say 1, for you when you're calculating, you look at it as a 0. You look at it as a 0. So again subtract 200,000 minus 100,000. Again you get 100,000 as a difference. Then after doing that, you multiply by 5. Of course, don't have here, it is in percentages of over 100. That's how shall be getting the income tax, or the tax collected by the government. We simply call it income tax. Let's go and look into that. We shall need a table for this part. Okay, good. So we shall need a table for this part. We shall need our table straight away for this part. We shall need our table for this part. We shall need a table for this part. Okay, so our table is right there. Alright, good. So we have our table complete. Now from up shall mean that uncle, the conclusion from the other part was so that was the conclusion from the other part, was that Uncle Colin will be paying shillings 238,333.333 monthly. So that's what the amount, that's the conclusion for part A. Sorry for that. Now let's start with part B. That I've already done on our table. So with part B, I want you to understand something, that okay, we report from the question, he receives salary of 990, which is subjected to PAYE. I put it in red ink. I see. So this goes direct to PAYE. No deductions are made on that amount. It goes to PAYE as a government requirement. So whatever the person earns must go to government, and what happens to government, they must be taxing it. More like what you have here is our taxable income. Look into that. This one is our taxable income, or the money on to which the government levies tax on. So that's our taxable income. So simply allow me to tell you that here we have taxable income equals to 990,000 shillings. Now we want to impose tax. We want to tax that amount there using the table we had, using the table in simple terms, the table you have the other side. So okay, using the table you have the other side, that means that we are going to say that here in here we shall have the remaining taxable income. That's what I prefer, because the government goes on picking. The government believes that one by one makes a bundle. It can choose to say that, okay, this is the income tax. Okay, the government can just choose to say that in the first part they will take 100. I think that part of that. In the next part, maybe they will take 200. That's what the government does here. They will take maybe 200. And in the next part, maybe the government will take maybe 300. I don't know if you think that. Then in the next part, the government will take another amount. So a combination of those amounts there ends up giving the government some good amount of money as revenue. Of course, the one they use to construct roads and other stuff. So we want to start off. Remember, in the first value here in the table, what are we going to be in with in the remaining income tax? We have 0 to 100. So subtract this minus that, which will give us 100,000 times, okay, times 0 over 100. Let's go and see that the next step. So let's go and look at that. So we're going to have that is 0 over 100 times 100,000. I hope you know where that 100,000 is coming from. The subtraction we made the other side. Remember, I had 0 to 100,000. So and it was corresponding to 0%. So you subtract this minus this, the amount you get is this. Now you get that percentage there times this, so you shall get that as a 0, which takes it free. But as you're doing that, this one here, the 100 you're seeing here, was picked from this 900,000, which 990. So how much will be remaining here? That's what I was meaning by remaining taxable income. So it will be the 990 minus the 100,000. Of course, you can see the color is the same. We are subtracting that minus that. Not again the 0 this side, what you are multiplying with here. So it means that here in the first part, the government picked 100,000 from 990 and they didn't charge any tax from it. So again, let's go and see. Level 2, what are we going to use? In level 2, what are we going to use? So in level 2, we are going to say that here we are. I told you convert this into 0. So you subtract 200,000 minus 100, like that. What will you get? I think you will again get 100,000. Okay, then 100,000 times a 5, but it's the percentage is over 100. That's what we're going to see in the next step. Okay, very good. So when you get here, look. So next step, it will be a 5 over 100 times 100,000. Okay, now look here. Our tax, this is here the income tax was 0. Here the income tax is 5,000. This is the money which goes to the government. Now what is remaining? Out of this now we are picking 100. So what will be the remaining amount? 890,000 minus 100,000 should be 790,000. Okay. Now look at the next slab. The next slab has it as this. Our next slab, the other side is 200,012. All right. We have a 300 and what? 350. I'm trying to bring it here so that we really understand. And now this corresponds to which percentage? Corresponds to a 10% percentage. So what I'm going to do, subtract this minus this, but convert this to a 0. So 350 minus 200, how much are we going to get? Okay, 350 minus 200, how much are we going to get? 150. So which percentage? It will be 10. So it will be 10 over 100 times 150,000, which will give us 15,000 as tax. Now this is minus that. We have removed 150 from that amount. What will be the remaining taxable income? It will be okay, 640,000 Uganda shillings, as simple as it. Okay, that. Now having done that, we have now again proceed. When we check in the table again, we have the next slab is 300,001 to okay 500. That's our next slab to 500, like that. And the percentage right there is just okay, is just 18. Now you subtract this, you convert the 1 into 0, then you subtract the 2. Still again there, you know, you get 150, but to be now 18. We start with 18 times 150,000, and that will give us a 22,000. This is the income tax now we're having right here. Now to be the remaining taxable income. So part of this we have removed 150. So we're going to just have 640,000 minus 150. So we shall get a 490,000 shillings. Okay, great. Now In the last column, allow me to go back here. You realize that, okay. In the last column, allow me to go back here. So in the last column, look, we have used the 18, you have seen, you have used the 10, you have used the 5. So here we have 25%. They say above 500. So if they say above, it means that the amount remaining is what you come and apply with the 25 over 100. And we are remaining with 490. So shall I get 490 times just that 2% there straight away without wasting time in simple terms. Okay. So I think you can now again proceed. So let's go there. Okay, good. So, and like you have done it there, because they said and above, so we didn't have any number to subtract with, so we just pick the real balance which is here and multiply it directly to the remaining percentage. Since the whole slab is done, then we shall get the remaining. The remaining will be that 490 minus the 490 you have taken, so it will be 490,000 minus 490. What we have here minus what I multiplied here, and finally it is a 0. And once it is a 0, this is how the government reacts. Look, look. This is how the government reacts, smiling after taking your money anyway. So that is it. Now to get the income tax, we shall add these guys here, the money taken by the government. We shall add those values there, and is what we call our income tax. Hope that has really made some bit of sense. Let's now go on, or we proceed. So let's go and get the income tax straight away. We get the total and we see the way forward. So total income tax, let's go there and try to get the sum. Okay, so now here we shall say that total income tax equals to 0 plus 5,000 plus 15,000 plus 22,000 plus 125,000. So to be our total income tax, so total income tax will be equal to, okay, total income tax will be equal to 165,000. Okay, so therefore we conclude and say that Uncle Colin pays income tax of shillings 165,000. Now this is the money this man pays as tax to the government. And after that, let's go to part C. What do they want in part C? So part C, let's go there. So part C, they're telling us, which is the last one, then we call it off. Okay, part C, they're saying, how much does Uncle Colin earn as his net income? Now you all know that net income from taxation, net income is equal to the gross income minus income tax, if you can really look into that, minus income tax. But what do we have? We have the, here we have the income tax, we don't have the gross income, so we need the gross income. But how do we get the gross? The gross income, you all know that the gross income is equal to the taxable income, allow me to write like that, plus allowances, like that. So that's what we shall need in that area, such that we can get it completed. Okay, now having done that, then we shall say that from the formula, net income is equal to gross income minus income tax. Then what we must know is that taxable income equals to gross minus total allowances, meaning we can use this formula here. This implies that we can use this formula here to get for us the gross income. Since we have taxable income already, we can calculate our total allowances straight away. Having done that, we shall be able to get the gross income, and we are trying to draw our table onto which we shall use to write our allowances straight away. Now, a warning which I want to pass out here is that the allowances we're going to have straight away here are going to be basing on, okay, we have family allowances and have other allowances, but for me I advise you that whenever dealing with this, you must always start with other allowances, then you make family allowances last. Like what am I meaning here? Look, we have this. Okay, you see that? So let's go back here. Okay, here we are. So they're saying that the following allowances to their teaching staff, monthly basis, lunch is 80,000 shillings. Then accommodation is 1. So you're going to put lunch, which is that as our allowance. We're going to put accommodation, which is 170. We're going to put medical, which is 55,000. We're going to put transport, which is 3,000 daily. But we are calculating monthly, so we shall multiply by 30 days because a month has 30 days. You see that? Now this one about children is what you make to be last item there. So the one about children will be the last one to be handled. So let's go there. So here realize that here shall have the allowances, then the amount the other side. Lunch from the question you got to see that lunch was 80,000 shillings. Then accommodation from the question you got to see that it was 170,000 shillings. Then medical was meant to be okay, all right, a 55,000 shillings. Then transport, remember 3,000 per day, so transport will be the 3,000 times the 30 days will give us that amount in a month. Remember, you're calculating monthly. Okay. Now, why I'm calculating monthly is because the taxes are imposed on after every end of month, and the taxes, the taxable income or the money on which they levy tax must be free from allowances. So even allowances must be calculated on a monthly basis. So there we are. Now let's go to the ages, the children. Let's come to the children and see what have they given us. Now I'm going to give you another trick here. Is that, look, they're saying that, okay, let me do this. So here they're telling you that children, they are there now. They are telling you that Uncle Colin has 5 children, aged this, that, and that. Now what you must know is that we must know, what does the government do? Allowance is allowed for only 3 children, but this man has how many? 5. It means that only 3 will qualify. But you must bear in mind that by order of receiving the allowances, the eldest is the one who began receiving before even these ones were born. I don't know if they can see that. Followed by this one of 17 before the one of 14 was born. Followed by this. So the order of picking our allowances must be based on the eldest, followed by that to the youngest. That's the order, because all of them may be qualifying, but you don't know which one to begin with. That's the order we're going to kindly use. Now let's see. Where does the one of 21 belong? Where does the one of 21 belong? Anywhere? Let's see. They said below 10 years, shillings 7,000. Between 10 to 15 doesn't qualify. Between 15 years but less than 18 doesn't qualify. Are you seeing? So the one of 21 doesn't qualify. So it means that it is this one who will take. The one of 17 will take the one of 14 and the one of 7. Let's see. Does the one of 17 qualify? Let's go there and see the one of 17. Yes, qualifies above 15 years but less than 18. So the one of 17 qualifies how much? It is 12,000. Let's go and put that straight away. It is 12,000. So let's go and put that straight away. So we shall now say that above 15 years but below 18 years, the amount given to us will be 12,000 right there. Okay, again let's go back. Family allowances are a bit technical, that's why I'm taking them so slow like this. Okay, again, now here we are. Now having done that, so I'll pick a different ink. The order of picking, this one doesn't qualify in any age bracket. So 17 has taken, remember I'm taking for 3. 17 has taken, which is in the category of above 15 but less than 18. So does the one of 14 qualify? That's now the second child. 14 qualifies where? Between 10 to 15 years. Between 10 to 15 years, the one of 15 qualifies one person and is taking 10,000 shillings. Let's go and see how that comes about. So shall now say that between 10 and 15 years you'll be 10,000 shillings like that. Alright, good. So that's the second child. Let's go and look at the third child straight away. A third child straight away. So now here we'll look at the third child. Third child will be what? Remember, if child the one of 17, the one of 14, so the one of 7 will be the third child because they want only 3. But 7, in fact, the one of 7, where is the one of 7? Below 10 years, shillings 7,000. Below 10 years, so he will be under below 10 years, and that I think will be just all. So below 10 years, there we are. Below 10 years, it is shillings 7,000. So for children 1, 2, 3, so the 3 children have been catered for. You now add this total here and give us the total allowance. That will be the next part. So therefore we shall say that total allowances will give us that 80,000 plus 170 plus 55 plus 90 plus 12 plus 10 plus 7, which will finally give us that. So total allowances are equal to a 424,000 shillings. Some good cash, by the way. Then, but we shall remind you of the formula that taxable income equals to gross income minus total allowances. Remember, we have taxable income, we have total allowances, so we want the gross income. I think there we shall now say that substitute Remember our taxable income was 990. We want our gross, but our total allowances are that. So we try to make gross the subject. When this one crosses the equal sign, I think it will add. And we shall have that in the next step. That gross is equal to 990 plus a 424,000 Uganda shillings. What are we going to have as our gross income? So our gross income now therefore be equal to, gross income equals to 1,414,000 Uganda shillings. So that's what we have as our gross. But remember they wanted the net. They shall remind you they wanted the net income which Mr. Collin earns. So but from the formula of net income, which is equal to gross income minus income tax, there we are. We have the gross, we have the income tax, so we can subtract to get the net. So substituting, we shall have net income equals to 1,414,000 minus 165,000. So our net income will therefore be net income equals to 1,249,000. So therefore we can conclude and say that Uncle Collin's net income is shillings 1,249,000 shillings. I kindly thank you for watching. Can say nice day. And for whoever is in senior 4, I can just wish you success. Okay. See you again.